your Spica clear glitter pen and fell in love with it. Copics makes them so they're a bit pricey. Do you know of a decent glitter pen that is comparable yet affordable? I hear Wink or Stella by Stampin' Up is a good one too. Thanks.
I haven't used the Stampin' Up ones. I have used the Copic ones. Somebody sent me a package to try out, and they are lovely. I think the Jelly Roll glitter pens are really good too, and they're about $1 a piece.
Wolfen8 says, until I can find a table to permanently set up that giant Cricut, I'll probably grab the Big Shot first. I bought an embossing folder. Can you use one in a few ways? Looking to incorporate it into a multimedia journal and maybe cards.
What do you think she means by use an embossing folder a few ways?
Well, I'm thinking maybe just besides, you know, embossing, like how you can like put ink on them.
Oh, that's right.
Stamp,
yep.
And you can emboss anything, like where she can cut out what I can't remember the name of.
Chipboard. Folks, we ran the battery down. Yeah, we did. We've been talking for a long time. I honestly think we've probably been talking for an hour.
Oh, has it really?
I think it has.
I never have a problem talking that long. Lindsay will completely and totally attest to that.
All right, so actually, you did I think you got the question, and it was different ways to use embossing folders.
Right.
So let's talk about embossing folders, shall we? We'll talk.
Get some coffee and
Get some coffee, some talk. I'm all out of tea. Look at that. Isn't that the saddest teacup you ever saw in your life? It's so very sad. It's cold down here. We have no coffee. We probably should have had a coffee break to come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, you had a great idea. You said inking.
Right, using it kind of like a letterpress.
Yes, yes.
Very cool. Either side, like.
Yes. And you can like heat up a foam bath block, and you can press it onto the embossing powder, folder and make a stamp. You can emboss chipboard, soda cans, emboss really great.
Yes.
You can
those earrings you make.
Oh yeah.
The soda tea, something that you bought
Arizona
only
tea
because you wanted the can.
I bought it for the cans. It was awesome. Kids liked it.
An unfrugal moment.
Well, it was, what was it for? I don't know. It was on sale. It wasn't very expensive.
Well,
it had a beautiful,
about as unfrugal as you get.
Probably.
It's not like you poured it down the sink. So.
Although I'm telling you, those Inktense blocks, I really want them. I really want the Inktense blocks. I keep going to.
What
they're
is this?
like Inktense pencils, but they're like pastels, kind of.
No kidding.
And I keep going to Dick Blick and visiting them. I'm like, oh, look at that. I'll put them in my shopping cart.
Do they appreciate your attention?
I think so. I put them in my shopping cart, and I think I leave them in there for a little bit, see how that feels.
I've been doing that with those mixed media dolls.
It's like they'll take them out of my shopping, they'll put them back in. You know, yeah, it's very sad and pathetic, but.
They were on sale for $3.49 the other day.
Oh, those stamps that you wanted? Oh, were they on Joann's?
Yes,
Joann's good stamps.
But they don't have a second set.
They're slow to get new stuff.
You can get kind of like the whole state of Maine.
Yeah, but the Joann's website's international. You know what I like about plugging my camera into the wall is the picture's brighter.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if you stand in front of the camera, you can see.
I trust you. I'll take your word for it.
She's not falling for it, guys. What am I gonna do? Was that the olding part of the
So I'll make you a deal.
Yeah?
40, 50, 60 pounds from now, I'll stand in front of the camera.
We need to do it, yeah.
Which means, never.
Healthy living video series or something.
I just need to stop eating sugar.
No, you need me to cook for you. You have 1 second.
I think I'll try it on my own for a while.
Yeah. One's plenty, Lindsay.
So, were we done with the embossing question? I forget.
I think so too. We got soda cans, we got chipboard, we got, paper, inking the letterpress, making your own stamps with it, clay.
The embedded embossing.
Yes.
That is like the coolest thing, and it's something I actually saw and tried, which I just don't. I just acquire information and acquire stuff. I don't actually do anything. That's not true though, but I do. It's where you have parts and pieces, cutouts.
Oh, maybe I can do it. You
like a
explain
flower. You'd punch different flowers out, or diamonds, circles, any kind of shape you want. I did it with a card actually for Jason, and had clouds and the land and sky. I made a background, and then so you glue those all down on your back piece, and then you put the card's base through an embosser, and you want an embossing folder that's kind of got a good all over design, with quite a bit of embossing to it, and put it through, and it like embeds all those pieces you add on top, like into the background paper, so it makes like your own print paper, but it also has the texture, but kind of additional texture because those flowers and things have become part of it. It's really a cool look. I just love it.
All right, this isn't gonna look as cool.
Lindsay's done one in like 3 seconds, just to give you a little show. But you can see.
So I took those little punched out flowers. I already had those cut.
Right.
And I just grabbed whatever scrap was left over from a Valentine's project. So it's not as awesome as Kathy's, but I didn't have hers here that she made, but then it kind of like makes your own pattern paper. I didn't even glue it, it's just stuck there.
Oh, and you know, they do talk about it gluing, but I mean, obviously, if you can keep it
see,
in
I can kind of
spot,
bend it and I
can pop it, yeah,
pop that off. But you know, so you see that it's just like 2 papers embossed together. Looks way cooler if you pick up papers on purpose and don't just grab the first thing that you.
But I like that. I love that green with that pink. I think
that's kind of nice. Yeah.
Adorable.
Happy accident.
More Fair says, help! I have a Teresa Collins stamp maker, but cannot get my printer to print the negatives dark enough. I purchased the printer that is recommended, wow, and use the settings suggested, but no luck. Any tips? Thank you for all you do.
Let me preface this with, there's very few things that I would say I wouldn't buy again. The Teresa Collins stamp maker is probably the only tool in my thing I would say I would not print. If I had the money, if somebody said, here's your $110 you spent on that, or you can keep the machine, you can get your $110 back. So that was, first of all, it's like a $200 machine. I got it for a great deal. I would take the money and run. That thing is a pain in the butt. It's a great idea, but it's really hard to use. Yeah. It's really finicky. There's so many areas for screw ups. But I did find, because I went back and forth, because I was having the same problem you are, they changed their they swear they didn't, they say they didn't, but they changed the sachets, the polymer sachets, because there's no other explanation for it. Because the first time I got the machine and the kit that came with it, and I bought a few little packets, little extra ones, and it worked great according to the directions.
I think you and I played around with it that day, and that was like the second time, because I think you did it with Tracy or whatever. We had wonderful luck.
Great luck. Great work. Great.
Clip art and some really detailed stuff, and they came out beautiful.
Yeah, and I didn't buy the special thing. I did one with hers just to make sure I knew what I was doing, and then I printed my own stuff on my printer, my regular PhotoSmart. Worked great. Ordered another batch of the sachets because I loved it. I went through all of it, and I ruined 2 boxes full of the sachets.
Has it really? I guess we haven't talked about that. I didn't realize
boxes. And so I called up, and this was probably last year CHA time, because the people at Photocentric who make that were at CHA, and we were talking back and forth, and I'm like, honestly, you must think I'm nuts, but I can't get it to work again. And then I tried it again with Teresa's negatives that came in the kit. It still was not working right. I'm like, I'm doing everything the same. The only thing that's different is the packet's a new shipment, and the new shipment came in, it wasn't wrapped around with the plastic the way it used to be wrapped. I think like in bubble wrap, wrapped in paper, in bubble wrap, inside a black DVD case, and wrapped and taped in plastic. And so the packaging was different. And so finally what they told me to do was to cook the back side for 5 seconds, flip it over, cook the front side for 100 seconds. Was it 100? I think it was supposed to be 3 minutes normally, so it was like 100 seconds. It was like half of what the time was originally. I wrote it down in my paperwork. It's in my box. And then remove it. And that worked. But, I mean, I never would have come up with that on my own. It was like half the time of what the package, what the thing told me. So try that. And if you go to my blog and type stamp maker, I think I put that information up on one of my posts.
I'm sure you probably went back and talked about it.
And they did. They sent me 2 boxes of the refills. They asked me how much I ruined, and they sent me that. They did replace it. So, they're good company. I'm just thinking that machine, it's almost like it's not quite ready for consumers yet. Yeah. I felt like it was more of a professional product, and I was clearly like the first set came out so good though.
They were wonderful.
And I was using my own printer, and I had it, you have to make sure you print it as dark as you can. I printed it on, because I wasn't about to buy a new printer to run this machine. I'm like, if it won't work on my printer, I'm sending it back, because I'm not having another printer in my house. So print it like photo quality, super dark, and you print it, you have to use their special transparency film, because it needs to be able to grab that much ink, and that's not cheap. The film is so expensive too. It's like $13 for a package of like 10 sheets or something. So you hate to waste it. And you kind of have to have some graphics know-how to be able to, use another program, because the program that comes with it doesn't really lay it all out so you can have multiple things on one sheet. So it's such a finicky thing. But I would say you need to use a shorter exposure time because I think they've changed the packets and all the information that comes with the machine is outdated, I think. I mean, I don't work for them. They were wonderful to replace what I have and help me figure out my problem. And they were saying that it was because my printer wasn't dark enough, which it was doing it with their transparencies too. And I wasn't about to go buy that other printer. So that would be my advice.
Obviously, it sounds like it wouldn't have done you much good.
Yeah, if that woman's having a hard time. There is a Yahoo group called TC Stampmaker Tips. It's run by Kay from Clever Someday blog. She's brilliant, and she could help you out too with any problems that you might have. But try cutting your exposure time in half. Try and just be gentle when you wash it out. When you wash out the stamp, so you don't like pull it off the backing. You have to cook the other side because by cutting the exposure in half, you're not going to have anything hooking that to the base, and it'll fall apart. So that's why you have to cook the bottom side for like 5 or 6 seconds, and then flip it over and cook the top for half of the exposure time that what it calls for. But yeah, good luck. I feel bad that I bought it. I wanted to try it out. I had fun experimenting with it, but I feel bad that my first attempt I was so excited. I was telling everyone about it, and if somebody bought it because of that and then had frustration, I feel bad when somebody wastes money if I've given them advice to get something.
You can only control what you do, Lindsay. Bonnie Campbell says, what kind of shredder will work to make quilling paper? I have not had very good luck with the ones I've tried. Thanks. Love your videos.
I'll grab the one that I have. And my mother gave me this, and she said it came free from like JCPenney with a pair of jeans or something, or some men's jeans that she bought. My mother gets the craziest freebies. It's so funny. But this
paper shredder with jeans.
I know. She's like, it came free. It was free with purchase at JCPenney when she bought some jeans or something for my father. It was the weirdest thing. I know. She's like, I got it free. I don't know. I don't need to use it for anything. But it does strips instead of cross-cutting. And I saw one just like it on Amazon, and I think it was about $20. And that's what it looks like. There's no like brand name on this thing. But so I have the handle stored inside, but you put the handle on the side and you crank it. But don't put your hair in there. Don't put your hand in there. Don't put your tie in there. Don't put paper clips in there. Helpful. So that's what it looks like anyway. And I did see very similar ones on Amazon. So that's as much help as I can give you. Those make beautiful quilling strips.
Lilac2484. Can Lorraine, sorry if I misspelled her name, bring back warm weather when she comes back? On Monday, January 7th, we were at -50.
Ooh.
Love your videos. Keep up the great ideas.
I'll try to get Lorraine to bottle some of that that warm Florida air. Although it hasn't been very warm in Florida. I was talking to Jason's aunt who lives down in Florida, and she said it was cold.
Polar vortex they were talking about was pushing the air way down. Yeah.
We're having some great weather though. Yesterday was beautiful. It was like spring.
Was.
Put on your sunscreen. Go get a tan. Oh my gosh.
It's pretty bad when you're talking 45 is time to get a suntan. But
I know.
We were at
it was
negative
nice.
numbers last week.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I was outside. It was nice.
Yeah, we stayed after school for Barbara Pullett. And this is you without coffee. I love your energy. I'm assuming that's from the Ask a Crafter 19.
Yeah.
You are so prolific. I can't even imagine your day. You do so much. Really crafting and creating and blogging and Pinterest and your teaching and workshops. I'm exhausted from just typing this. But my question is on your time management. I love to craft and sew and stitch and blog, and I have a small store on Zibbit. Never heard of it. I'll have to check it out.
Etsy maybe, and I think
Oh,
so.
really?
Maybe, yeah.
Nice.
Or maybe it's like an art. I don't know if it's because there's some that just do graphics, but it's probably like an Etsy or a shop handmade.
However, they are all suffering because I imagine my time management is so far from productive. Any tips on how you keep so many balls in the air successfully?
Sure. I have to write stuff down because otherwise if I have an idea floating around in my head and I haven't tried it yet, it will just kind of distract me from everything. But if I write it down, then I can go on and think about the next thing I need to think
It's
about.
kind of like delegating.
Right.
Once you write it down, you can let it go.
And I'm famous for coming up with ideas as I'm trying to fall asleep. So if I don't write that down, then it's going to nag at me all night. So I do keep several notebooks around, but I did just bought a planner so I could write everything down and plan out, like when I have an idea, not just write the idea down, but write this, I'm going to try this on Wednesday because I know I don't have anything going on Wednesday, and while I have those supplies out I could try this and that. So I try to like group things, so my workflow goes pretty well, and I have my most taxing things need to be done between 10 and 1 because that's when I have the most brain power and the most energy. So
and no kids.
And no kids. Yes, my kids are in school, so I need to plan. I plan things for when my energy spikes are, and other things for when I have more of a lull. If I know I'm not that energetic about 2:30 in the afternoon, so I will save that for email because I could just have a cup of tea and sit down and go through my emails. So plan your day according to when you have your best energy spikes. And if your shop is a priority for you, you've got to make it a priority. You can't spend all your day doing one thing and then, I gotta put something in my shop. Maybe you spend an hour creating something for your shop and then you spend 5 minutes uploading it or whatever. I know it's a pain in the butt to upload things for shop. It's not fun. That's why I do pretty much everything at my Graphico now, because I upload it once and they handle all the other stuff. Because sitting down there and typing in stuff is boring. But if that's your goal, then you need to set aside 25 minutes for shop work a day, and it might just be uploading whatever you made today. It might be posting about what you just uploaded in your shop on Facebook. It might be writing a blog about what you've made today, because just putting it in a shop is not enough. If that's your goal to make a successful shop, you need to create the merchandise, because without that you don't have a shop. You need to list it and you need to promote it, and promoting it and listing it are probably promoting it is just as important as creating it, because if nobody sees it then it's not going to sell and your shop is not going to be successful. So but it's not quick. Those aren't quick tasks. That's probably right there. We just talked about 3 hours out of your day probably between creating, listing, and promoting. And if you're spending 3 hours a day doing something completely different, you're going to have to reshuffle and make that a priority. So be realistic about what you can get done in your time and prioritize what you really want to have done. So does that answer it, or did I go off?
No, I think it completely answers it. And one of the big things you said is kind of about scheduling it, like having. And my son's teacher just gave the same information to him. He's in all honor classes, but his geography teacher, they had this big, huge project coming up, and Gabe, my son, just won't do it. He waits until the last minute. I can't imagine where he gets that from. No idea. And he still comes through with flying colors, so he's not really learning any kind of lesson not to do that either. But his teacher talked to him about, pick 20 minutes every single day, like when you get home at 2 o'clock, so at 2:15, have a cup of chocolate milk or whatever, and at 2:15 to 3:15, work on this project every day, or 4 days a week. And that's the time, and you can't do anything else till you do that. Don't do your other homework, don't do this, don't wander around the house, don't pick up your room, don't, and I think we as adults have to do the same thing, and like Lindsay said, make it a priority, but also schedule it.
Yeah.
So you you have a commitment.
Yeah. And it's amazing. Once you get started, if you get past the first 15 minutes of doing something, you're going to sail, but it's a getting started. It's beginning something that's the hardest thing.
And I think there's something out there that says 21 days, like to break a habit or kind of start a new habit. So you also have to, don't think you're just going to fail and give up. Make a schedule and stick to it, and then it will become kind of more natural. Yeah.
I remember before my kids were in school, people would tell me, stay-at-home moms would be like, "Oh, you're never going to believe how fast the days go." When I'm like, "What are you talking about? You've got 7 hours there. What do you mean go fast?" She said, "Yeah, I used to get so much more done before the kids were in school." It's like, what? You get more done with these kids running around? And so it kind of that stuck in my head, and I thought, I'm not going to let that happen to me. I need to make sure that I keep on schedule when the kids, because before it'd be like, they'd go for a nap, I would do my work. They'd go for a nap, I'd do my work, and I would get all housework and stuff done while they were playing. So I would have that time. So I made sure, because that always echoed in my head, like people would just start wasting the day as soon as the kids are in school. It's like I can't let that happen. I can't waste my day like that. So have a schedule. I mean, it doesn't even have to be written down if you can stick to it, but it could be like, for me, it's like walk the dog, get to work, have lunch, do my lower energy tasks, and then the kids come home and then it's about them. So
Pattinson fan, hi, I love your channel. Do you have any ideas for making handmade steampunk clogs or gears?
Well, I just did a video on making the faux metal ones, and that was just cutting it out of using I had a Tim Holtz gear die. It's one of the thick ones. That one was I think the regular about 20. I got it on sale for 10 at Joann, and I cut it out of cereal board. cereal box, and then I embossed it in an embossing folder, and then painted it brown, and then dusted over some gold paint. The video's on my YouTube channel, a couple ones before this one. And then you can use that in jewelry. You might want to give it, actually, you know what, if you're gonna use it for jewelry, I would do like a soda can or some sort of like thin sheet metal for that. Just and this will round over the edges. That's a nice thing about a die, is the pressure going in will round them so they're not so sharp. And then you can paint them whatever you want, and that's quick, cheap, easy.
Starlight, Starlight. Squeal! I just heard my name on TV. I'm famous.
So
I do the same thing, and I got to hear my name twice, and now I'm even here.
And she actually came, she didn't hide. Well, she's hiding, but you know what I mean. She's here and she's talking.
I had a feeling my question was way too general, a list of Frugal Crafters' faves or recommended products. But hey, hope springs eternal. Okay, so here's something more specific. Have you tried upcycling Starbucks coffee bags into beads? I'm currently saving bags and plan to have a go at it really soon. Any suggestions or advice?
Well, they're kind of like a plasticky bag. I think it's kind of like a foily, plasticky bag.
I don't know. I don't know
so
what they are.
I think I would make the tapered beads, roll them up, and then secure them with a little bit of glue. It's plastic, so it's going to be tricky to glue. Probably a little Mod Podge, but hold it. And then after the glue dry to do a bead. You can use super glue also, I guess, to secure it. I think the shrinking it is what's really going to hold it.
Hold it, yeah.
Yeah, with a heat gun. Fumey though. Open a window. Was that all of it? That was all of her question, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And 07 Bailey T, another question. Hi, Lindsay. Can you discuss the pros and cons on Prismacolor, Derwent, and Faber-Castell pencils? I would like to try coloring with pencils that have a smooth finish and can blend. Many thanks, Tara. Hugs.
All right, for traditional colored pencils, my favorite are Prismacolors. I think they blend the best. The Faber-Castell has a line called Polychromos, which instead of having a wax binder, it has an oil binder. So it's very transparent and you don't get a wax bloom. So sometimes when you color with colored pencils, especially if you're using a thick layer of color, in a couple of days you'll notice a little bit of a haze over it, and you can wipe that off with a tissue, just kind of buff it off. And then, but then it gets kind of shiny, and some people don't like that look. So what you can do is use the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils, and they have no bloom because they have oil and not wax. They tend to be a little more transparent, so you need to use it on lighter colors. They blend all right. They're I would just layer over them to blend. I wouldn't necessarily. I usually don't use a blending medium unless I'm stamping. I might use Goo Gone, but if I'm doing color pencil art, I don't use the solvents. So they're both good pencils. They're just different. I prefer Prismacolors personally. And the Derwent colored pencils, their Studio line I feel are a little dry. They're not as creamy. They're a harder, drier pencil. And then they have Derwent Drawing, which are creamier, but they're more sepia tones. And then they have Derwent Studio, which are also, they're thicker lead, a little creamier, and they have brighter colors. So Derwent has a lot more variety in their pencils depending on what you want. But I think for blendability and creaminess and ability to color on light or dark paper, I would go with the Prismacolors. They're still my favorite. I've been using them since I was 5, and they are unparalleled. I just love them the most. But you might find that within the Derwent line that there are more options of artwork that you prefer, that you might prefer a smaller tin of one of those. But
is the price comparison basically the same?
I think so. Yeah. Pretty much any artist quality colored pencil, they're gonna be about $1.20 a pencil, and you can buy a lot of these open stock. So you could buy a few of each and try them out, like from one of the big sellers like Dick Blick or Cheap Joe's, or even I think Hobby Lobby has Prismacolors open stock. So
BJ Rolls. Hi, Lindsay. I hope I'm not being greedy with more than one question. First up, have you ever used the Ranger Melt Pot? I keep thinking I need it, but as I'm on sick benefits, it's a lot of money to shell out if it's not going to be worth the cost.
Well, I don't know what you want to do with it. I don't have one. I've never really felt that would be something that I needed. Like, there was a point, I got into friendly plastic. I got a bunch of old scraps of friendly plastic that was old and kind of brittle, and I was playing around with those, and I thought melt pot would be kind of cool, but what I used was a coffee cup warmer, and that worked great for that. So you might use a coffee cup warmer, maybe put like a tuna fish can in there, or a cupcake wrapper, like a silicone cupcake wrapper or something, to hold your embossing powder. I think it's a very specific and expensive tool for, in the US it's $40. So
Is it that
yeah,
much?
so it's probably like twice that in Europe. Which I'm not sure if she's from Europe. I just thought the UK. I just heard sick benefits. It sounds like that's a term that I hear from UK scrappers a lot more.
I see something further down on it says here in the UK. So
Yep.
she is. Yep.
Yeah, I think I'd skip it, quite frankly. On a that's not one of the first things I would want to buy if I have very limited funds. I would see if you could find a $5 coffee mug warmer. They look like these. Or an electric skillet, or like, you know, something like that that you could put a little container in. You know, just mind it, don't go off and leave it. But you could probably use a crock pot or an electric skillet or something to warm up embossing powders and, you know, save your money for the good stuff.
Yeah, they have those way back when the little potpourri warmers.
Oh, yes.
were.
Yeah.
Those are kind of basically
Yep.
mini little crock pots
Yep.
and stuff. I'm not sure how hot they get, but if you just
If it can melt wax.
have one of those,
Yeah.
you know, holiday ones stuck in your, you know, that you only pull out in December or whatever, use it in the craft room or check
Yep.
yard sales.
Wax tart melter, any of those. I wonder if yard sales were popular in Europe.
I was gonna say, I don't even know if they have yard sales. I would think so because they must have junk just like we do. They want someone else to take off their hands.
Yeah, I don't know if they have as much junk as we do. We Americans can really
know.
compile junk, can't we?
Consumers, yes, I'm right there at the top of the pack. Next, can you can tell I'm a mega frugal crafter. I won a set of 6 Spectrum Noir pens and love them, but I can't afford to get the entire range. I've been looking at the 80s Glam Sharpie collection, and some of the colors are really funky. Would they be okay for coloring until I can afford to get quality alcohol pens? Staples over here in the UK have them on sale right now at less than half the price of my local craft store.
Absolutely. There's nothing different about the ink in a Sharpie marker or a Copic marker. Or, well, okay, so there might be a denatured alcohol instead of ethanol, which ethanol and denatured alcohol are about exactly the same, except there's a additive in denatured alcohol that makes it so you can't drink it. So basically, but dollars to donuts, using them interchangeably. The ink is the same across the brands, whether you're using a Sharpie or a Pro marker or a Spectrum Noir, any of those alcohol-based markers. So yes, you can absolutely use them together. Did she say those Sharpies had brush tip, or were they regular tip?
She didn't say.
Because I mean, now they're making brush tip in the Sharpie line and in the Pro marker line and in the Prismacolor line. They absolutely will all work together. It's just, you know, you put art supply on something and you can jack the price up 5 times, quite frankly. So absolutely use your Sharpies with your Spectrum Noirs, with any other brand of alcohol-based markers you have. They're going to be fine. I like the Bic markers. I don't know if they have those over there, but they're actually less than the Sharpies here, and I like those pretty well too.
Thanks. Kim Sprato, hi. I've just discovered you here on YouTube. Yay! I have learned so much already, as I am very new to crafting and jewelry making. My question is, what type of bench top drill press should I purchase to drill metals, stones, glass, shells, etc. for jewelry making? There are so many out there and many different options. Thanks in advance, Kim.
Probably not the one I bought my husband for Christmas, because I just got him a drill press. I really don't really know much about drill presses, but I reckon it's the bit and not the press that you need to be concerned with. So what I would do is I would go on Etsy and I would find somebody that makes jewelry like drilled sea glass or drilled stone jewelry, because if I'm going to use those materials, I tend to solder and not to drill. And ask them what they're using and if you can get by with a cheaper drill press with a better bit, because if you're just going to be using it once in a while, it doesn't really make sense to buy a $400 drill press if a $75 one will do. So I think I really don't know the answer to that question. I would contact somebody that makes that type of jewelry. Sorry if you watched an hour and a half of this to get to that question. I feel totally bad.
CSlay27, hi Lindsay. Would you compare the new Stampendous, the Creative Palette, to the Jelly Arts plate?
Oh, I think we did. We
They
answered
seem
that one
to
already.
well, there was a question earlier. They seem to do a thing wondering about the softness, durability, and treatment of the cleaning process and the two materials. It is a different question, but we did really kind of cover
okay.
it, and you said basically you thought they were going to be pretty much the same.
Yeah, I think it's about the same. Wipe it off while it's while the paint's still wet, or you can. I was looking on UK Marianne's blog. She used rubbing alcohol or hand sanitizer or something to get like even the grime you couldn't see
Really?
off of
That
the.
doesn't break down.
Well, but
Nice
it's
of
the Jelly Arts. I don't think it's made. I don't know. I don't think it's the same as a hectograph. I think it's a little different. I think it's a little more petroleum based. So she cleaned it with rubbing alcohol. But even because I think it's more of like your polymer stamp material. But even so, you're not really supposed to use alcohol on the polymer stamps or stays on or anything. But I bet if you neutralize it by cleaning it with something else after you've used the alcohol to get the acrylic paint off, that it's going to be fine. But I really think they're the same thing. It's just a different take on it, just a different brand. So if, Jelly Arts or Stamp Pendants want to send me one to try, you wouldn't have to twist my arm too hard. I would do a tutorial on them. 'Cause I'm curious. I am curious. I've never used them. I think it'd be fun to try, but I just can't justify spending that kind of money when I got a, box of unflavored gelatin upstairs that I can, use. So.
Yeah. I know that one video I watched of that woman and doing it. It was just fascinating.
Yeah.
Just wonderful. And then when she put it on the tape and then filled in the background of the tape, it was like, wow, I really want. But I think my cat would eat it. My kitten would eat it. Oh my gosh, she got up on the stove last night. We had cornbread in the skillet and just covered it and left it. She took the cover off it and ate the cornbread. My husband got up and the cornbread was like in the fridge with like this really odd shaped thing cut out of it.
No.
And I was like, what happened to the cornbread? My husband's like, the cat. And we have 2 new kittens.
And he puts it in the fridge anyway. I'm escaping that up for the birds.
he cut out what she'd eaten, but I was just like,
paw prints on the top.
I didn't have to ask which kitten had been into it.
Oh, it's funny.
She's terrible. So anyway, Linda Ogle says, would love it if you could show some ideas on using Lampwork beads. I bought a bunch of them, mushrooms, ladybugs, fish, frogs, etc., but don't know how to use them. Crazy, huh? Anyway, any tutorials would be appreciated. Thanks, Linda.
I did a tutorial on making wire wrapping with it's not even, it's not really wire wrapping, it's using wire. I think one of the best ways to showcase a Lampwork bead is to take a piece of wire that's about 3 inches long or so and make a wrapped loop on one end, put the bead on and doing another wrapped loop, and then you can link a bunch of them together like that, and that way each bead is kind of showcased with a little bit of wire wrapping in between, and I have a tutorial on that. Could you put a little note to make a link? I can make a link and put that in the video description. Because that's a really fun and easy way. Another thing is just to do a simple beaded earring on like a head pin, so that way again you're showcasing that beautiful bead, and maybe just like an e-bead or a small glass bead with it, just to kind of frame it up a little bit. But that's the thing with Lampwork beads, they're so stunning that you don't want to do too much to them, because you're going to, especially if they're novelty, where they're like a character, you don't want to do too much to it because you're going to downplay how pretty it is. You want to kind of highlight how unique it is and not go too overboard by putting too many together. So I would do a simple beaded earring or the wire wrapping bracelet or necklace. Under the video, in the video description, I'll make sure I'm just going to sit right down at the computer and put in all those links while the video is uploading so I don't forget. But do you have any other ideas for Lampwork?
No, just like you said, they're expensive. Or can be. If you get a great sale on them, that's great, but they are, kind of special. So you want to showcase them, like you said. Okay, Crafter's Delight says, Lindsay, I love all your great ideas. I'm setting up a craft room in a 6-foot by 8-foot room, which is quite small. Do you have any storage ideas so I can keep my room in order? Virginia.
I think one of the best things, I'll share a couple of my best storage ideas, and I will be doing a 2014 update craft room tour. Not today, though, because it's scary. I was thinking, oh, Kathy filmed that for me. It's like, oh, no, I won't. This is scary. This is a what not to do in your craft room video. But anyways, I got 2 cubbies, the 9x9 cubbies. This will really, it would work in your room. You could take them. Let's see, I bought them at Target. They're about $40, and they're just a big, like 3-foot by 3-foot square, and it's just cubbies, and you can get canvas bins put in them, or you don't have to. But if you put 2 like side by side, you could put a tabletop on top and have a really great area for working, and then you have storage on each end of your table. You could even put a 3rd one in between and have another wall. That would make, let's see, 3, 4, 5. That would make your thing 3 feet by 5 feet, your table 3 feet by 5 feet, which would take up a lot of your room. But you'd want that right in the middle so you can access all of your shelves. Or if you just do the 2 on the end, then you could push it up to a wall and have your tabletop and then bookcases on each end. Storing my stamps and binders, my unmounted stamps and binders, is a great space saver. Let's see. As far as setup, I would try to make sure your bench that you're going to work at, your table, is also doubles as storage. You could roll carts or like the Rolling plastic carts are great because you can move them around as you need to. And I would try to keep as much stuff modular as you can, and also work up, use your vertical space.
That's what I was going to say, is make sure to use the vertical space.
Yep. Use your walls to hold as much stuff as you can, because you're going to need room to walk around your table and to get around. Yeah, and just try not to stock up on too much stuff. If you've got a limited space, you have to be realistic about what you can keep on hand. Any other?
No, I think that really covers it. And a lot of, look at the stuff you have around your house already.
Yep.
Like bureaus and things that you may or may not be using, or that could do double duty for you.
Yep. Shop your own house first, or your garage, see what you can find. Yeah, well, does that do it?
I think it does.
I think
the last question I had.
The longest Ask a Crafter ever.
Now I feel really bad.
Oh, no. I can always put it in 2 parts if I need to. I want to thank you so much for watching. I want to thank Kathy for co-hosting with me today, even though she's hiding over in the corner. Hopefully she'll be back next week. Will you be back next week?
I'd love to be back next week.
Yay, she's coming back next week. Maybe she'll be in front of the camera.
No.
No? Okay. Well, I tried. What can I say? I tried, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if anyone is still there, thumbs up and subscribe, please. And until next time, happy crafting!